Hi, so this classic mixing trick is probably not as famous or big in name as some of the other tricks that I've discussed in this series, but it is a very effective way to get some extra grit on an instrument or a vocal. So all the more reason to have a closer look. So let's go! Now the trick I'm talking about requires a specific use of the world famous 1176 compressor, which I'm sure you've heard about because it featured on many hits, both current as well as in the past. Now there's also a very famous classic mixing trick with an 1176 compressor, and that is using the Dr. Pepper settings on the device. But I have a separate video about that, which I'll link at the end of this one. Because this trick is about using the ultra-fast attack and release settings of the 1176, which can be set so fast that they effectively impact the fundamental waveform of a sound. Now this works especially well on sounds which have a lot of low frequency content, because this means that the waveform of the fundamental of such a sound is quite long, which allows the compressor to have a bigger impact. Let's have a look what it does to a sine wave, for example. Because over here I have a channel on which I have a test generator, which generates a sine wave of 100 Hz. I have an 1176 compressor, the Rev E by UAD in this case, and I have supervision, which measures the signal after the compressor. And as you can see, it's a perfect sine wave at the moment. However, if I now patch in the compressor and I set the attack and the release as fast as possible, so that it is actually so fast that it will impact the sine wave, and I turn it on, you see it compresses quite a lot, but we can compress a little less. But you see, especially over here now, you see a little fluctuation in the sine wave caused by the compressor. Now if you compress it on a higher ratio, you can see that the sine wave gets less ideal, 12:1, 20:1, or maybe even using the all buttons in mode. Then you can see that this compressor really affects the sine wave at a fundamental frequency of 100 Hz. Now these deviations that you see in the sine wave actually are caused by additional frequencies that are added. And you can also see that in the supervision by using another graph, but let's first turn off the compression, back to a perfect sine wave. And if you go to spectrum curve over here, you can see that there's just this 100 Hz frequency. If I now enable the compression and wait for the spectrum curve to settle a bit, you can see that there are lots of additional frequencies added, which causes that extra grit, that saturation, that distortion sound that I'm going to let you listen to in a minute. Now you may think, but hold on, I have saturation plugins, I have distortion plugins, I can probably also add the sound in that way, and you're probably right. However, what usually also happens is that you can lose some of the definition of the sound that you're listening to. Sometimes you lose the low frequencies, and it usually adds a lot of additional noise. But with this trick of the 1176, you can add compression, distortion, without adding a lot of extraneous noise. Now with all of that theory out of the way, let's have a listen on the real instrument. And looking at this example project over here, it's just a basic rock beat with vocals, guitar, bass and drums. Let's have a quick listen.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Yeah, very basic rock beat indeed. Let's first focus on what we can do with this trick on the bass guitar. I just recorded it myself with my Mexican P bass. And there's not a lot of processing on there yet. I have my SSL 360 Link plugin, which is more so that I can control it with my SSL UF1 over here. It does not influence the sound. I have a console emulation on there. And there is already an 1176 on here with pretty moderate settings. 4:1 compression and moderate attack and release. Now let's set this compressor so that it produces some extra grit. Fastest attack, fastest release. Now on the 1176, that's dialing those knobs fully to the right on the highest value. And let's see if we can already hear a bit of grit if we enable and disable this compressor. Yeah, you hear a little bit, but you can add some more by compressing it a bit more. Let's try that. And raising the ratio over here also adds some more grit. You can go all buttons in, which has most impact. Yeah, clearly audible now, right? I have to say that on bass, I like the revision A better. So let's have a listen to that, because I also have that set up over here. Let's listen to the revision A versus revision E, starting with A. And this is the E. Yeah, I think the A has a bit more consistent distortion, but it may be a bit too much. But you can always dial it back by dialing back the ratio, of course, or the input gain, or even on this plugin you have a mix knob, so that you can mix in the original sound with the distorted sound. Let's have a listen to that. Back to the A. And like I said in the beginning, I think the bass sound is still quite defined. There's just an extra grid layer on top. So let's listen to this together with the drums, for example. Yeah, so a bit more of an edgy sound to the bass, which I think is an improvement for this track, because it was just a DI recording, which was pretty clean. Now, another particularly nice use of this compression distortion is on the vocal, which I'll show you in a minute. But if you like this video so far, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that it gets shown to more people. You can also subscribe to the channel and push the little bell icon if you want to get notified when I publish another video. And if you want to support the channel even more, there's a super thanks button below the video, which is a virtual tip jar. Or if you intend to buy anything musical or non-musical, I have many affiliate links in the description to, for example, these stores. And if you click one of those links before you purchase anything on those stores, I will get a small commission without any additional cost to you. And I'll add some extra affiliate links to the UAD 1176 collection if you like these particular compressors that I'm demoing in this video. But now on to the vocals. Now there's only one vocal in this song, it is still very basic, and this is actually an AI vocal that you're hearing that I used to replace my own voice when I sang this, because it just sounded much better than me. I also have a separate video about that, by the way, how I replaced my own vocal by an AI vocal generated on the Audemy website, and I'll provide a link down below in the description. Well, let's have a quick listen to this vocal in solo. Now I'll turn off the send effects so that you can hear the vocal even more clearly. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of processing on there already. And the vocal is quite gritty in itself already as well. Let's have another listen without the send effects.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind.
Now, as you can see, there's already an 1176 on here. And again, with some moderate attack and release settings, a ratio of 4:1. So let's use this to add the compression distortion as on the bass. And let's listen to the difference of various ratio settings, and maybe I'll add some more compression by upping the input as well.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind. Finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Now it's more subtle as on the bass guitar, also because there's not so much low frequency content in this vocal. But on this all buttons in mode, I think it's pretty clear that it's more gritty. Let's have another listen.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind. Finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where...
Yeah, it really makes it more edgy. Let's have a listen in the mix. I'll enable the send effects again.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind. Finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Yeah, it's probably a bit too much like this, but I can of course use the mix control of the compressor again to get this in parallel next to the original one. Let's have a listen.
I'm breaking free from the shadows of your mind, finding my peace, leaving the chaos behind. No more whispers, no more silent cries. I'm soaring high where the truth lies.
Yeah, so as you can see, also quite effective on the vocal, which was already a bit gritty to begin with, but we could still add a bit of an extra edge there, which goes well with this type of music. Now let me know whether you already knew about this trick or not, and whether it could be useful in your mixes, or maybe you're using it in an entirely different way. Let us know in the comments as well, so we can all learn from each other. Now there's another very famous classic mixing trick on an 1176, and that's about using the Dr. Pepper settings on this compressor to make compression on almost any instrument sound good right away. I've made a separate video about that technique, which I'll link over here. Check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.